Hello everyone, Brilliant Little here from your land partner, coming to you for your next instalment of 100 in 100 days of content and hopefully useful insights and information on land development and planning to help you rather successfully start or scale your current business. Today's topic is carrying on from the theme of the kind of mini series that we've recently been doing on sourcing. We're trying to take you through the development life cycle, through the 7 stages, and we're coming through sourcing. A few more sessions on sourcing to go, and today's topic is specifically aimed at sourcing sites using online mapping. It's something that we do a lot in our own business. As you know, if you've tuned into any of our previous videos, a lot of our pipeline and our sites that we source come direct to the owner, and using online maps is one of the best resources to do that. There are a few caveats, obviously. With online mapping, there's only so much that you can do in terms of exploration of areas. There's nothing that really beats the real thing of getting out there on the ground, which is one of the best ways that you can actually find sites. But obviously with technology as it is, with the situation that it is as well, where we are with lockdown procedures and things like that, it could be a fantastic opportunity right now to use online mapping and then this kind of technology to build your pipeline up, really. So I wanted to share with you some tips on how to go about doing that. Primarily, obviously, the types of sites that you're likely to source using on overhead online maps is mostly land. It's difficult to determine whether whether it's an opportunity or not when you're looking at buildings from above. Obviously, with things like Google Earth, you can go into areas and up and down roads and things like that. One thing to obviously note, which I'm sure you're aware, is obviously the timeline in terms of when they take photographs, for example, from above and on Google Earth itself. If some of those photos may be a couple of years old, and the data that they're pulling through. So you may find and come across a fantastic site, for example, or opportunity for some development and find out that it's already actually underway. But don't let that stop you in your tracks. The idea basically, from our perspective, is to source all the possible sites in an area that you're looking for, regardless of whether they're outdated or not. And then you've got them in your hopper of your kind of funnel, and then we'll filter through them to a fairly high degree, really. To be honest, we don't really filter many out at this stage, because we might as well prepare letters, send them out, wait for responses, and then filter the responses that are coming in, rather than, say, taking the time to source 100 sites, do a load of due diligence on 100 sites, and then find that you're only sending a few out. You might as well do it the other way around. Yes, you're probably spending a little bit more money on postage and things like that, but essentially the amount of responses that you're going to get in is far less than the gross number of sites, if you like, that you are sourcing. So my advice would be to source, get the letters out there, and then filter through them as they come back in, really. So what I'm going to attempt to do is share my screen with you on this session, and just go through now. There's three resources really that are out there. There are more than three, obviously, but you've got free resources and you've got paid resources when it comes to mapping areas. And I'm going to just talk very briefly about three of them. I'm going to share with you the screen and go through Google Maps, because it's a free resource. So anybody starting, you want to try and invest your money in the right areas, where you're going to get the most value, and you can find sites and find the relevant information that the paid for sites do pull through and put conveniently into one place. but you can find all that information if you're willing to do a bit more work and do a bit more digging, and perhaps have a few more tabs open on your browser. The other obviously option is paid for, and we don't really typically use paid for services anymore. We used to a point, because they proved quite useful for us at a certain stage. We used to use Nimbus Maps, which I'll share with you their website shortly. And the other alternative in terms of a comparison to Nimbus Maps is Land Insight, which I know a lot of people do use. We don't ourselves, but a lot of people do use. They do similar things essentially. So right, I'm going to share my screen with you now. Desktop 2. Hopefully you're seeing the Google screen. Now, firstly, what I want to spend the majority of this session just going through with you is the use of Google Maps. Perhaps some of you listening or looking at this or watching this live, watching the recording, whatever, are familiar with the process I'm going to go through. But for those that aren't, it's very useful. And we actually use Google Maps to not just for sourcing sites, but the team use Google Maps to record a lot of information and track progress of letters and things like that as well. So that, in combination with CRM or pipeline management software, can be really, really good in combination. So firstly, what you want to do is navigate your way to Google. Go up into the top right hand corner with the 9 dots with the apps, the various Google apps that are part of the whole system. Navigate your way down to the Maps icon, click on Maps, takes you to the normal kind of Google Maps screen. Now, left hand side of the screen next to the search bar for Google Maps is a drop down. So to click on the 3 lines for the drop down, and you want to go to Your Places, which is just down the list here. Click on Your Places. You'll come up with a separate menu. There's no saved maps or anything in this one, because it's a new account I'm just using for demonstration. Labeled, saved, visited, and maps. So go to Maps on the far right, and then right at the bottom you've got Create Map. So we go click on Create Map, opens up a new tab, and hopefully, if it loads well, it sort of brings up your base map. Now, give your map a name. Just click on there to say mapping example. That'll do for now. You can add different layers, so we'll call this layer identified sites. Now you might want to add another layer, so you click add layer, it just comes up down here. You might want to change that and go planning applications, for example. So it's more than just a tool for finding sites and locating sites and recording the information. You can then obviously, if you're on the planning portal of your local authority, you're finding out where the other applications are in, or opportunities that you might come across, failed applications, granted applications. You might want to record them on the map. You don't have to, but it's something that we do within our own team. You might have another tab for things that are on the market. You might have another tab for market information in terms of areas that have got certain per square footage sales values, things like that. So lots of different ways you can go about it. I'm just going to untick that one so it's not visible. So that one's ticked, so it says unidentified sites is visible. We'll change the base map. So click on the down arrow where it says base map. We just want to change that to satellite view, because it's going to be quite difficult to find sites from like an OS or just a general map. So we change it to satellite view. We'll put in an area. I'll put in my hometown of Shrewsbury. That should take us into the centre of Shrewsbury, so it gives us a good idea of what we're looking at. And simply now, what we're basically looking to do is zoom into various different areas and start scanning areas for opportunities. Now, as you can see from the kind of far out image, obviously you've got a lot of roads coming in, you've got railways, you've got a river that runs through the town and separates different areas. And that's often a good way of segregating your map to then start sourcing. So for example, we could start sourcing in this area here, and once we found every single site in that area, we then move on to the next area, and so on. So we gradually, a bit like a jigsaw, going through area by area, road, sort of the jigsaw pieces that the road and the river and the railways have divided for us, and we're identifying sites within these areas. So I'll zoom into one of the areas now. So obviously, as we zoom in, we're going to get more information and more detail coming up. So as we're going into areas like this, you know, it's detailing more information. We've got new build sites that are coming on here, the sort of volume sites that are coming on. You know, in fact, as I said before, the times or the year that this was taken, for example, or updated, because obviously they do update their maps. A lot of these houses are actually built now. So you might come across a site that hasn't, that it's just a green field, for example. But actually, when you come to look into it in a bit more detail, it is actually built out. So let's find an area where we can just start having a look for some sites. So once you're in an area, it is literally a case of just zooming in and out, up and down roads, dividing the area, and trying to find small pieces of land or bigger pieces of land that you feel may be suitable for a development of some kind. So obviously I could spend a lot of time scanning this area and looking for different sites and stuff, but just to give you an example of how the process kind of works, you know, for example, here, center of the map, we found a bit of a field here. It's got some commercial to the side of it. It's got some residential to the side of it. Further to the right hand side, another big commercial area as well. It's got residential surrounded. So that little bit of land there, it's not little, it's quite a big piece of land, but that could be an opportunity. Now, if you're scanning your area, you find something similar to this and you go, right, okay, I need to record the information, go up towards the search bar, go to draw a line. You've got different things along here. You've got select items, add marker, draw a line, add directions, and measurement tool as well, which is very interesting. If you want to look at back garden sites, for example, and you want to know whether there's enough space down the side of a house to get access or something like that, that tool can be quite useful. Not 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea to sort of start and play around with, really. So go to draw a line or shape. We just draw a line around, very quickly around that shape there. So polygon 1, we go site 1. You might want to put some information about it. You come across that you find out some information. In actual fact, if you find a site not via maps, you find it by being out and about, you still might want to use your maps to record the information. So you might go out and about on a bike ride or a walk or something, come across a site, go on your Google Maps when you get in, locate it on your Google Maps, draw the shape around it, and you might put some information that you actually found it while walking, when you found it, etc. If I don't know, there might be a board outside for sale, you might want to put that information on it as well, or what have you. Obviously, you can go back to this information and change it. Our preference with regards to information that are linked to sites like this is that if you've got cloud storage system like Google Drive or Dropbox that you're putting information into, then put the link to the Dropbox folder or what have you in there, and then you can navigate off and have a much more kind of organized system of information storage. If you want to take a photo, you could take a photo or an image or something and add that to there if you've got anything on the access, for example, or anything like that. But just for the purpose of this session on 100 and 100, just want to give you a quick example, really. So site 1, we go save. We might want to change the color of it to yellow so we can easily locate it. So that's like one site, quite big. So then we'd just be going and scanning the area. We might want to zoom in, for example, and look in a bit more detail. You might zoom into here, and obviously the amount of detail we're starting to see is a lot more. We've got large gardens. Obviously, these don't really have any access, so it's quite difficult to see that that's actually an opportunity. But as we start scanning around, we go, okay, along this road here, we've got a row of garages. Now, garages are likely to be part of these houses here. But could that be an opportunity? At this stage, we don't know who owns it or whether it's a realistic opportunity or not. But as you're scanning an area, it's worth just recording that actually, yeah, that might be an opportunity there. It's a garage site. So we'll go there, we'll go site number 2. We'll put garages because it's quite clear from above that they're garages. Sometimes you don't know what the buildings are, but it's quite clear from there. And obviously I've got local knowledge, so I know they're actual garages. So we save that. We put it to yellow again, and we move on. And basically we just do that for every single area. As I said before, much easier for finding bits of land. Bit more difficult for finding buildings for redevelopment, but good for finding garden sites, excess land from commercial, sort of like pub car parks, things like that, commercial land that you think that could be redeveloped of some kind, just excess residential land, just land infill sort of opportunities, lots of different types of opportunities that you can find, some of which as you're scanning through, you might say, yes, that's viable, or that isn't. But the idea is to scan the area as thoroughly as you can and kind of efficiently as you can, and just record as much as you can, really. There's no point leaving stuff off. If it's a maybe, then record it, and then we'll go back through it during a review session and go, yeah, that's worth sending a letter to, that one isn't, that one is, that one isn't, and we'll move through. A case in point, this little bit here, you've got a main road, so you've got access frontage here, you've got gardens. Whether the garden is big enough, if that was a little bit bigger, perhaps you think, yes, that's got a good opportunity for building some houses on, so we might we might mark that down as an opportunity. So you're just going through the different areas, and you are trying to locate potential opportunities. Obviously, there's a lot of land here. Can we get access to it? These gardens, can we get access? We've got a lane going up there. Is the lane wide enough to get access that we might be able to purchase some of these gardens or put some land grabs together? We've got some land in and around here. We've got a service station. As you can see across the way, there's development that's going on in the area. So they're just indicators. These are big back gardens with outbuildings at the back. So is this lane big enough that we can perhaps build something in the back? Yes or no. Obviously, ask yourself the same thing in your area. This is a barracks. Good example, actually, of outdated maps. This is the barracks in Shrewsbury. It is no longer a barracks, and it is a volume site. But I think it's Bovis, or I don't think it's barracks. I can't remember the volume builder that's building out. I think it is Bovis, and they're building out, I don't know how many homes, but there's a fair few number of homes here, all the way here, and already being built at the moment. So a good example of the map not being up to date. So hopefully that's useful. Many of you, it's probably not mind-blowing information, but for those starting out, it can be quite useful. But it's, we're experienced, and we're doing things like this all the time. We're scanning areas, we're finding bits of land, we're adding them to our maps, we're then going through our filtering process, we're then putting them into our mail merge documents, we're then sending letters out, we're then waiting for responses, and then we're taking it from there, really. So that's the process, really. So just to end this session, just wanted to share with you the other two paid for services for maps. So firstly, you've got Nimbus Maps. If you look at their pricing, they've got different levels. You've got a free version, so anyone that's not used it before might be worth checking out the free platforms to see if they work for you or not. These systems pull through other data, some things like planning applications and various different data that they pull through. You've got £150 a month version there, and then you've got Teams one, which is probably obviously a lot more expensive. You've got the various features on the left hand side there, and which ones corresponding to which package you go for. But they pretty much, Nimbus and I do very similar things. In our experience, it's great that they pull through information, but we've noticed that they don't pull information through everywhere, and sometimes they pull through information that is outdated, and that gives us that makes us a bit wary, really, and it makes us not trust some of the information. So we inevitably go back to the source anyway. So that's hence the reason why we don't really use them anymore. We just do it ourselves. We use Google Maps, we use Land Registry e-services, we use the planning portal, we use Environmental Agency for things like TPOs, LPA websites for stuff like that as well. Flood risk, things like that. We can find out all the information ourselves. It just means we have a bit more work to do, but we've got a team set up to do that. So if you're willing to put the work in, you can save yourself some money, and you can learn as well, because it's good to learn the process as well, learn from where the information's coming from. Land Insight, very similar. Streamline your sourcing, pricing on there. They've got different Land Insight and Land Enhance. 45, 135 a month, unlimited. Don't know what that one is. You have to get in touch with them. But yeah, check them out. If there's a cheap one or a free trial or whatever, then see if it works for you, really. So stop my share now. I should go back to the screen. Hopefully you found that useful. Any questions on our processes on Google Maps, or anything like that? As I said, we use Google Maps not just for sourcing, but we use it for recording information as well. So if we can help you out on any of that information, then let us know. And any experiences of yours of finding sites on using Google Maps, paid for services or free, then let us know. Any success stories, any sites that you've successfully done a deal, let us know. So thanks very much for watching. Brilliant Little from your land partner. 13th, I think, installment of 100 in 100. And that's land planning and development tips and insights for 100 days. So stay tuned for tomorrow's installment from myself, Richard Little from your land partner. So thanks very much for watching. Take care.